Chicago, the city that gave us hope and heartache in equal measure. It was in these streets that I learned one of life's hardest lessons, the lesson of belonging and the consequences when it's denied. I brought my family here from Ghana, hoping for a better future. My husband Kofi had passed away, leaving me with 6 children to raise on my own. The youngest, Mariama, was born here, in this land of dreams. We settled in a modest apartment in a neighborhood teeming with life and challenge. I worked tirelessly, juggling multiple jobs to provide for my children. My eldest son, Kwame, took on the role of a protector and provider at a very young age, helping me whenever he could. But it was my third child, Kwaku, who tested the limits of my strength and patience. Kwaku was always the restless one, full of energy and mischief. He craved attention, sought validation in every corner of our tight-knit community. Without Kofi around, there was a void in Kwaku's life, a male figure he could look up to and emulate. Kofi had been the anchor, the steady hand that provided guidance. His absence left Kwaku feeling adrift, without the strong paternal presence to ground him. He often struggled to understand his place in the world without the father he dearly missed, which intensified his search for belonging and validation outside the home. But Chicago was not always a kind place. The streets were rough, and the temptations many. I was so busy working to keep us afloat that I didn't notice the cracks forming in Kwaku's spirit. Financial constraints meant I had to work multiple jobs, leaving little time to monitor and guide my children. This absence, combined with our modest means, meant that Kwaku often felt deprived, not just of material possessions, but of emotional security and the warmth of a family's presence. Money was tight, and the pressure of keeping the household running meant that emotional nurturing sometimes took a back seat to survival. In Ghana, our village would have embraced Kwaku, guided him through his challenges, but here, in the concrete jungle of Chicago, he felt lost and unseen. I often wonder if the pressures of assimilating into a new culture made it harder for him to find his place. He drifted away, seeking solace and recognition in dangerous places. Kwaku fell in with the wrong crowd, boys who saw his hunger for belonging and exploited it. He started skipping school, staying out late, and coming home with bruises and a hardened heart. His grades plummeted, and the bright spark in his eyes dimmed. One night the police brought him home. He had been caught vandalizing a local store. His anger and frustration boiled over, leading him to acts of rebellion. He stood before me, defiant yet broken, and all I could see was my little boy, lost and scared. I held him, my heart heavy with guilt and love. "Kwaku, my son, why have you done this?" I asked. He looked at me, tears streaming down his face, and said, "Mama, I just wanted to feel like I belonged somewhere. I wanted to feel the warmth of being noticed." It was then that I remembered the old proverb, "The child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth." Kwaku had been crying out for our attention, our embrace, but I had been too busy to see it. I gathered our family and we talked openly about our struggles and fears. We made a conscious effort to include Kwaku in our daily lives, to listen to him and guide him. Kwame took him under his wing, and together we sought help from community programs and mentors who could provide the support Kwaku needed. It was a long journey, filled with setbacks and small victories. But Kwaku slowly found his way back to us. He graduated from high school and, with the guidance of a local mentor, pursued a career in community work. He now helps other young boys who feel lost and unseen, ensuring they have the embrace he once lacked. I share this story with my grandchildren to remind them of the power of community and belonging. We all need to feel embraced, to know that we matter. And if we fail to see and nurture our children, they may seek validation in destructive ways. Remember, my children, the village's embrace is not just a physical act, but an emotional and spiritual one. Let's never forget to hold each other close, to listen, and to guide with love. The proverb is a reminder that every child needs to feel seen and valued, and that as a community, we have a responsibility to provide that embrace. If we fail to do so, the consequences can be dire. But if we succeed, we build a foundation of strength and unity that lasts generations.